Title 33. We still have two Atlantis on the bike path. I don't know if, Ron, you've got any further update on when the rec department are going to take those two trees out. But
I do not. All I know is it's a work order, so okay. I'll follow up on that, David.
Okay. I don't have anything else under Title 33. Everything else, I believe, on our agenda for the moment is under Title 37. So, with that, do we want to do it in the order I've got them on the agenda? 65 North Court first? Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine.
Rick, so if Mike, you can come up and introduce yourself.
Today we're reviewing 65 North Court Hotel. That's quite a large thing here. This is the site here. We've got a sanitary line running diagonal, and then the storm water line running parallel, which what that does is to try to avoid any damage from trees. It doesn't give us any place to put trees. If we try to put trees, I'm concerned that it'll either invade the storm water or...
Where are the storm lines?
The storm line is here. I believe it actually connects into this. If this is the building, it connects into here. So it comes in and then goes down the site.
Between here and there.
Here is the edge of the building. What we're doing is the two floors that we're building on top, we're extending out about 10 feet so that we can get enough rooms and
because we had walked around there yesterday, or Monday, Tuesday, whenever, Wednesday. So, and there was plenty of space in here for the cars to move back and park back farther and have trees in between.
Is this the walkway that's outside the building, or no?
Yeah.
Or this is the new edge of the building?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And what we've done is we've pushed the parking a little bit.
Exactly what we were talking about.
That's where we're about
And what about over here? We were thinking the clock is going to move over to the church. Over to the Historical Society location. So we were wondering if we could have another.
Yeah, we're noticing the trees along there are doing pretty well. The ones that are not in front of you because there aren't any.
As long as there aren't any, as long as we don't run into any utility, and would there be a concern about the parking meters? Since it is city property,
well, there are trees.
There are trees.
Okay.
There are trees along. Yeah.
Right. That's definitely an option.
Have you done a calculation? How many trees would you need to provide to comply?
Well, I was saying 3, but David.
Okay.
I didn't add the building.
Yeah.
David did, and he says 6.
If you take the lot itself and divide by our magic number 1767, I think it's 6 trees. We could put in the option that if the city is agreeable to them putting tree pits along Court Street, we could allow you to fulfil part of the obligation by planting trees there. But my opinion was that this is one that looks like it's going to need us to give them permission to bank the trees. I don't think that this is one that it's going to be easy to get any trees into this site at all.
Well, it just seems like it would be nice to have a couple of trees here because...
I agree. And as I said, if the city will allow that, but it really depends on the utilities under the sidewalks.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
See if there's
it would be nice to have some shade and some greenery in that area.
Yeah.
Now with the building extending 2 stories, that sidewalk is only about 12 feet.
You mean this sidewalk? We're talking about over here.
Yes, this sidewalk here is about 12 feet wide.
Yeah.
Is that going to be an issue with the back?
It's the same up here where there are also trees.
Yeah, the city's managed to put tree pits into parts of the sidewalk along Court Street, but I don't know what's underneath there, and I have a...
There is a street pit in front of that building, isn't there?
No, I think it's up a little bit.
I think it's by the overhang, I think.
We saw one pit where there was no tree. Was that on the other side of the street?
No, it was up on that side, but it was farther up. I forget how far up it was. But there were several that were doing quite well.
We can do a utility check and see what's there,
Yeah.
but I'd prefer to have the street trees. If we could.
Yeah, I think if we can do it, we should allow you to meet the part of the requirement by planting there, and then bank the rest. But I think the simplest decision that we can make tonight to allow these people to move forward is to say this looks like a site where tree banking will be necessary. The site requires 6 large shade trees. Any that could be put in the sidewalk along Court Street will just remove the number that they've got to bank. That's all.
Couldn't fit more than 2, it looks
I
like.
don't think they can fit more than 2.
Right.
And it really depends on what utilities are underneath the sidewalk in Court Street at that point.
I had a discussion with the city engineer, Andy Stone, and he preferred that we wouldn't plant trees there because of the...
And that's what I'm afraid may happen. So I think we just leave it, as I suggested, that if the city will give you permission to put the trees there, I think the Tree Commission will be very grateful for them being there. But I think we would also understand that that may not be possible because of the utilities.
So we'll just check and see if they're utilities.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Here. This is a lamp post. We were thinking up right around here.
yeah, behind that car that's parked there in the
Could
picture.
give more space and wouldn't have the...
Right, over here, kind of where the
Oh, that one.
receptacle is,
Okay.
kind of right in there.
Yeah.
And that should be on the other side. How wide, how large is the stormwater line? I mean, it's just a dash line, but I'm assuming we're talking about
It's
something.
probably 6 foot wide at least. These are stormwater tunnels that they tend to put underneath that go down across the city.
This is a part of it, so it probably...
That looks like what, 1.5 feet or something like that diameter?
It's got some
size,
to it, yeah.
right.
And yeah, there is a tree between this building and the next, but sadly, it's not on our property. And I sometimes think that maybe they put that sewer up above so that they could plant it, or I don't know why.
Or it may have sometimes
Seedling that
volunteer. I've had a number of volunteer conifers. Yeah, right. Nice, yeah.
So, the proposal is we grant them permission. For this, we need at least 2/3 of the commissioners to agree that they be allowed to bank trees.
Yeah, I would agree.
Do we agree that they should be allowed to bank the trees? Okay.
Ask a question?
Sure.
So I'm just kind of curious, looking at, having walked by the site and looking at the pictures, adding another story, you're probably talking about 25 or 30 rooms? In
30 units.
something in that neighborhood. So, because there are only 7 parking spaces there, and just walking through, I was just imagining kind of, could that spot, you could kind of pull in there, and then I almost imagine like a little median with trees, and then having the side of the building off Court Street be the main sort of drop off. But I just wasn't, I'm sure there's got to be parking somewhere else for people. I don't know if it's going to be off-site or...
Well, the issue here is that storm line is right where it's under where our drop-off point is. So even if we were to put an island there, we would still have an issue with the storm line.
So it's a 6 foot wide.
Well, one of the things,
Well,
as
there's
an
no trees
architect,
here. And if you don't have-
thinking
Right,
about
correct,
is when you
yeah.
make drawings.
I was just imagining you could pull in there and like drop
Some
people off.
trees. That was nice.
Oh, yeah.
So
I
we-
try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah.
We've just had a problem with designs being created, then they come to us and they say, oops, there's no room. You know, instead of like, well, we better plan this so that there is room.
Yeah.
So this is much more restricted than a lot of our things we see. But
Well, this additional thing is,
yeah, that makes a difference. But in the front, there's not going to be any overhang. That's just going to be along the side.
Yeah, just the side, correct.
So, further questions?
I would like to recommend that, once construction starts, that we plant the trees somewhere in the community within a certain period of time. Is that reasonable to build into that? Rather than just say they're banking 6 trees.
Well, no, because the policy says that
Okay.
They have to pay the city a fee for each large shade tree to be relocated to a public park or right of way within the city before a use or a zone permit is granted.
Okay, so they'll purchase the trees, or they will provide money so that the city can purchase the trees.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's really up to Ron to
And
decide how quickly he's going to.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair if he's banked the money in the cities. So that will be done then.
Yes.
That's
Yes. The
okay.
requirement of the
Okay.
policy is that they can't get their use or zone permit. That was the language I was given by Rick's predecessor. So
Okay.
I hope it's
You know,
correct.
Dave, one of the things that we were thinking the other day is, do we have a follow-up system so that you know if somebody actually sent money?
You're looking at it. You're looking at it because I'm going to have to check with these guys to make sure that happens.
We have a key set up in our accounting system that tracks it.
Like,
There's a key set up in our accounting system that tracks it,
okay.
so we can pull it.
The same with new trees that you're putting in and things like that, or?
No, that's separate. See, this money would have to be
Just the money.
appropriated to a tree line purchase.
What about the plans for putting trees in? Is that?
That's a separate piece that we deal with separately. And so what happens is this money gets into the city budget. It then has to be transferred to.
It has to be
Ron, so-
appropriate.
No, I mean, if somebody says, okay, I'm going to plant these trees, do we go back and look, or how do we know?
We as a
that?
tree commission can go back and check that the trees are.
That's the only thing that we
That's the
have.
only thing that's going to happen. Because
If you want to
the-
see, if I can report on that regularly if that's requested.
Well, I think
We can do that.
Nancy was referring to a plan for which trees get planted. How do we check that they were planted? And I said the commissioners have to go out and check that, have to go out and look and see. if they've been planted.
I understand in some places, I think like New York City, that they cannot get a use permit until the trees are actually there. Whereas we have said, we've granted them a leeway, we
We
say,
give them
with one,
two planting
right,
seasons,
right.
which I have recommended to the city that we should now consider that, and the service secretary directors agreed that should be spring and fall, or fall and spring,
Yeah,
depending on how they fall.
that would be good.
So that within 1 year now it should be, they should be planted. But that was done again to try and promote the trees, because we don't want them planting at the wrong time of the year.
Exactly. But it would be really nice to be able to get them in this fall, for example. I mean, if their construction starts and whatever.
What's the possibility of that being operationalized, you think, will happen?
We could do it, but it wouldn't be out of the direct money. It would be out of money that's already appropriated that we would have to utilize. Because by the time we get the money, depending on when it could be put in, we'd have to appropriate it through council action. The money goes into the general fund.
Yeah, that's
And
not what I
it's in
meant.
there.
I mean, if somebody agrees to plant some trees and they haven't, and they go to get their use permit, could we intervene and say, no use permit until the trees are planted?
No, because the ordinance says they have up to 2 seasons to plant them after they have occupied the building.
And in most cases, you really don't want to plant them while or before construction happens. It just would be likely damaged. So,
Anyway, can I steer us back to
Yes.
the particular
All right.
issue?
All right.
What I'm asking for is approval of two-thirds of us that, by approval of two-thirds of us, that they be allowed to bank the trees for this particular. Thank you.
I support that.
Okay, good. Then what we will recommend, what we'll approve finally then is that they need 6 trees, 6 large shade trees. If they can plant some along Court Street, that will reduce the number that they've got to bank. And that's really all we can say, I think, at the moment as a tree commission, because it really depends a lot on what the city engineer says about this particular site. So, any further discussion on this one?
I would
Okay.
like to schedule an opportunity to meet with you, to look at the site. So,
Okay, good. Thank you. So, in that case, can we move on to 20 East State Street? And this again is being presented by Mike Carruthers at RBC Architects.
So on this one we have, there are 2 spaces. There's an upper area and a lower area. And on the upper area, the issue of planting trees would be the overhead power lines. There are a lot of power lines coming from the building here and from here. And there, if you look at, there's a series of pictures. There are a lot of lines next door as well. And my concern would be is that if we tried to plant anything at this location, they would get in the way of the power lines.
So whereabouts is that on this drawing here? Because I visited the site.
You're here.
Okay. Right, and we go, you said there's a slope. That slope is towards the rear, isn't it?
And that's right here. And
Okay.
There's a heavy slope here.
Okay.
And then we're down pretty far, like,
Is
say
the
10 to
slope,
20
is the
feet.
slope part of the property?
Part of it is, yes. It's, yes.
This is the treed slope that's in the back. Is that what we're talking about?
There are trees on it.
Yeah, it would. Sure. Yes, part of this is on our property.
Yes, and there are trees on that part.
Okay, that's what you were talking about.
And
Got it.
it would be a likely place to put plant if there weren't electric
Right.
overhead wires. I mean, there's a tree just
don't
beyond our
understand.
property right now, and the wires go right into it. My concern is that the tree, one of these days, may
Yeah,
take
we'll
out the
get
power.
one. Sure. Or we'll get trimmed
So
severely. No.
when we were there and we were in the parking lot and you looked down, there was a slope there. I think would it go down to like a retaining wall or something like that? But it looked kind of rubbly. But it looked like there was room there for
Yes.
a tree. I mean, it would not be easy.
And that would, if it wasn't for this
Can you show me where
overhead,
that is?
yes, it's right here, between this area and this area is what you're looking at.
Oh, okay.
And there's an overhead line going right here.
Oh,
And there's a tree. I don't think it's a large tree. I think it's just I don't know what type of tree it is, but it's right here. And the power lines actually go into it. And it looks like there's a telephone pole right next to the tree.
So your property, I see. So your property line goes down this slope here, doesn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
because there's a building here that we actually had to approve planting of trees for that were on this slope here, I think.
And I think one of the trees that
Yeah.
is sitting right here, and that's the,
Which is the power line, by the way? Is it not?
it starts here
Yeah.
and it goes back this way.
Okay.
Excuse me, could you just reference this lower parking lot compared to...
Here, let me grab the, I've got color.
Oh, that always helps, thank you.
So this area here,
There's the slope.
there's the slope area, and here's 1, 2, and 3
Is he doing, did he say that?
power
This
lines
is,
that are.
what is that, Fern Street down here? Is that?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's Fern
okay.
Street.
Oh, we don't know
So
that.
these trees that are existing, are they?
They belong to the next door property
Next
because
door
they're the
property,
one that
okay.
we approved a number of years ago that has underground, well, it's under the building parking, I think, at that point. And then
Okay.
there's
So we
there were
can't count
trees.
those for
No.
this, 'cause, yeah.
They belong to
There's a
something
nice
else.
hackberry in there
And those are the trees that are, the power line goes right into.
that you were talking about, okay.
Well,
Thank
yeah,
you. That
but
helps
if,
me.
if it is this type of power line here, this is less of a concern. It's the ones that are on top of this pole that are the major concern. If these are the usual 110 volt power lines, we don't worry about those for the trees. It's the big ones underneath this one, the 11,000 volts.
Oh, that's right, because there's
So then we
no,
have the front of the building as well, and that's a fairly wide sidewalk, wider than 12 feet.
Everything's
He's
against
got a prettier picture of it there. As you can see, here's, you've got a set of wires there.
Yeah, these are not wires that we worry about for trees.
Those are service lines.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the ones on top of this pole that we have to be careful about because AEP will keep their lines free to 4 feet either side and 10 feet above and below.
So you-
Whereas those, they can run through the trees quite happily.
So there is a possibility of planting on that slope. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I believe it's.
I guess not all
15.
power lines are created equal.
Nope.
Yeah. I learned something new. I thought
Yeah.
they were all,
Yeah, okay.
stay 50 feet away from them. and-
Right. Don't touch them while you're holding
Yeah.
a glass
These
of
are the
water.
ones you want to stay 50 feet away from.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm
then-
assuming that these here
That's the
are the
same.
ones
Those
that
are
you
service lines.
Again, those are service lines coming into the building.
There's a space right there, and that's where the lines are too, I suppose. That in the parking is like this. So there's a space in its corner, there's nothing that can be there.
Well, now, one of the things that we will be doing is because of the amount of parking we're required, we'll be redoing this space and then running a stairwell down to this space so that tenants can access the lower lot.
Are you building on top of the imprint?
No, it's just
Or so?
that building, yes. Zoe and Passion.
So to here, yeah, where there's
Yeah.
a change in
Yeah,
brick.
we're not touching this. This is a separate building. We don't want to,
I just wasn't sure.
it's open web and,
It's your parking lot.
yes.
You can split the difference on your lines that have a 4-foot tree pit that will not lose any, you won't lose any parking spaces.
Well,
You can split the difference on your parking spaces so that you have a 2-foot gap over on each side of the line for those parking spaces and you gain trees.
well now, if we do that though, when we add the 2 floors, I know that in code it says that we must go 15 to 20 feet from the building.
We would prefer if it's more than 1 story to be 15 feet away from the building for a tree.
How about this corner? Because it didn't look like there were any lots, sort of kind of where this picture was taken. This was kind of empty asphalt.
That's where I'm putting an elevator. I've got an elevator and an egress stair. I can't take the egress stair away.
So we plan for everything except trees.
And this is the west side of the building, correct? And
Yes.
south, so that is even with a couple stories, that is a pretty bright side of the building.
Well, we can allow a variance to allow the tree to be closer. But,
Yeah, I know they don't
Yeah.
want it too close,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But I mean, for a single-story building, we have 8 feet, but for 2 stories and above, we go for 15 feet.
well,
that-
8 feet would work, but that's
I think here, I've parked in this parking lot. My biggest concern would be if we put a tree there, we're going to have to lose a parking spot. And we're right where we need to be. I mean, it's, lose a
would
parking
back
spot,
into
lose a
it.
bed, and we can't lose a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Till council tells tells us that trees can trump parking spots, we're stuck
And
on
if
that
you
one.
can get that,
Okay, so the front of the building as well seems to have some
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah, and again, it will be the same caveat as the other property, that we don't know what the engineering issues are going to be in doing that.
if you look here, and this would be my major concern, is we've got a gas line here. The water line is probably fine, but I think my biggest concern would be
What?
how close the gas line is, because
Where are we? I think that's probably the sidewalk there.
yeah,
In
and
which
then the
case,
gas line
yeah,
is,
yeah.
How
So
deep is it?
it doesn't say.
no.
No,
I'm
they're
And it
not
runs
sure.
the whole length.
Yeah, it's just running parallel.
Now, it does
to
look
the
like they may have trees here and here.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So this could be another instance where
Possibility.
we talk with, and
Yeah.
if we can put
Yeah. Yeah.
wells.
Yeah.
then we do it.
Tree pits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it'll be subject to the city engineer agreeing that this is acceptable.
So the only two possibilities are the front of the building, potentially, and that slope that has the service power line.
The,
And
Yeah,
how long is that slope?
I doubt you're going to get more than one tree in that,
I
in that
agree,
space
yeah.
there. Just
Looks
looking,
like
looking
about
at the
15 feet.
scale of the cars and things like that.
especially if we're not concerned about
Yeah.
that.
So that's definitely a tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the front is possible for 2 or so.
We're looking at probably 3,
Yeah,
3,
you've got,
and then the requirement is, David?
18.
it was a lot. Tree requirement.
Parking.
I looked at the,
Well, it's
Tree mix, I
28,000
forget what the
square
tree
feet
was on
divided
there.
by 1767. So,
I was getting either 17 or 18.
yeah.
Of course, I kind of rounded a bit.
Yeah, we all do.
Practically a woods.
it's hard to plant half a tree. I understand.
Yeah.
Got a feeling that's
We
the
call that
number
a
there.
dogwood, isn't it?
And somehow a small
28032.
tree is not equivalent to half a tree.
No.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
In
it's
terms
not.
of age.
Yeah, 16 trees.
16?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you might be able to get 2 in on this spot, but it also depends on where your stairwell is going to come down,
Yeah.
because that's
And-
pretty important.
And the big thing is, what I'm going to try to do is keep the stairwell close to this edge and then come down.
Oh, I see, okay.
So it
So you
shouldn't
won't be-
too.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
I'd like to encourage RBC and then any other consultants that come forward to spend more time looking at it and come in, instead of us doing the planning for all of this. I mean, you know, you could have already maybe talked to the city about the potential to put trees in the street and found you know, as many potential locations as possible. I understand the one on the slope, you'd have thought that the power line was an issue, and I can understand that. And you know, we do want to work with you, but it would seem like if you could have spent a little bit more time trying to, because I think as Nancy had said, you know, we've got room for, you know, we figured out how to get the elevator, the stairs, everything in there, but there has been no real looking at trees.
And the major concern on the road was that gas line.
Right.
I just
Yeah.
assumed that
Okay.
would have been an issue, so that's why I
But,
didn't really.
but then it wasn't for the other trees, evidently.
Right, so I think, yeah, unless it's on an angle, it's, you know, it's probably not an issue. Although you could work with the city and
Yeah,
find
and
out.
there are also a lot of opportunities
Right.
that we have in terms of utility lines even. Some of those are pieces we can plant. You know, so I don't want it to be perceived that if there's a utility, it's dead. We can't plant there. We can in situations.
Yeah, it's just that we're not competent engineers to kind of make any judgments on that. We have to defer to our city engineer on that one. So if I can summarize this, I think we're going to do a similar thing to what we just did with the previous one. This needs 16 large shade trees. It looks like we may have found a location for one on the slope, and possibly some more, 2, 3, again depending on whether the city engineer agrees that this is acceptable. That would still leave 12, 13 trees to be banked, and so again we need the consent of the Tree Commission to bank trees on this one. Do we have any objections?
I would approve it.
Do you approve it? Okay, good. In that case, do we approve them proceeding forward with this plan, and that they'll work with the city engineer to see if they can get some of these trees put along the front there, and we'll leave it up to Ron to make sure that proceeds as it should do.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Mike.
So how many, are those going to be apartments?
Yes.
And how many apartments do they have?
How many beds will be 15?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I guess it's your turn now.
You ready for me?
Yes. If you're going to represent the people at 12 East State Street.
Yeah, my husband and myself are
Okay.
the owners.
Okay. Would you like to just introduce yourself? You can do it from here.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'm Christy Goldsberry, and my husband and I have a property located at 12 East Carpenter Street, and we recently tore down 2 buildings that were really physically obsolescent and needed torn down. In the process, we cleaned up a dirty site. So we have abated we cleaned up, it was contaminated when we cleaned that up. So we really are looking forward to making it a much better property than it was. And one of the things that you'll notice if you went to the site is there is a slope. And where it's not a huge slope, but it is a gentle elevation towards the rear of the property. So there's going to actually be 2 tiers for parking, a little bit of a tier there. So that gave us an opportunity to possibly put some trees up there. And then we also are going to put trees in between us and Family Dollar. So we really did try to think about how to incorporate as many trees as we possibly could, given the space constraints and given the parking constraints that we had to work with.
What is going to be the purpose of this building?
It'll be commercial space on the first floor, and then 6 4-bedroom units and 2 3-bedroom units on the second and third floor.
Okay.
The first floor, we don't have a prospective tenant yet, but there's also like a patio area, and we're putting a tree there. So we've tried to do as much as we can, and hopefully, if you agree with the plan, what I'd like to get is some guidance on what you would like to see. Give us some choices as far as what has worked in parking areas, as far as what has survived. Certainly don't want to put trees in that are going to wither and die because of the asphalt that's surrounding it. So I'm looking for some guidance in that neighborhood. We're not far enough along yet where I've actually contracted a landscaper or anything, so that's what I would. I don't know if you all had a chance to look at the plans.
No,
We went by the place, but we haven't seen the plan.
Okay. Do you have plans?
I have my printed copy, and that's all I brought.
I could look at one online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we borrow one of yours? Because I did not bring plans for everyone. I assumed that you would have them.
We can share.
Okay,
David,
so
that's what you sent around, right?
Yes, this is the other.
So-
Yeah.
this is Grosvenor, this is Carpenter, this is Carpenter Hall, this is Family Dollar over here. Okay? So we've got parking, we've got new trees here, 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 here,
Oh, great.
here, here, here. And there are no existing trees on Grosvenor, so we're going to put 2 more here. So we really tried to incorporate as much as we can. There's an existing tree here, but that's where the entrance is, so we're moving it here.
Okay. Physically, you're going to dig it up and move it, or?
Yeah, it's a snake.
Well, we're going to try to, whether it'll survive the construction period.
But there are techniques, there are people who do that.
Right, I understand.
You may have to
That's
say-
really outside of my expertise, so I can't really answer
Sure,
that
sure.
question.
I'm just saying that There was a presentation on that at a tree care conference a few years ago.
Sure, oh, I'm
It was
sure
like,
there is.
Whoa, I can't believe they're doing that.
Yeah, but that's a relatively small tree. That
It's one of the street trees, and so they're kind of small. And it'll probably be
And it's not like the roots.
it'll probably be replaced with a new tree, I'm guessing. I'm just guessing, but I don't know for sure.
All right.
I would hate to commit to it being the exact same tree.
Yeah, right.
So what's the footage on this one?
Yeah.
It's up here, the calculations are a total of 20,247 square feet, which means divided by 1,529 square feet, gives you a total of 13 trees, and we've actually got 14.
But the number was 1767, right?
No, it's 20,000 square feet.
We're talking about the building footprint,
Right.
planted area, the parking, and the sidewalk.
Right,
That
that's
equals-
20,000. But you divided it by 1529.
Yes, it should be divided by 1767. So it's
Oh, so we actually have more than what we need.
Would be fewer
Well,
trees.
this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's good. Always good to have more than you need.
That's all right.
Are those all spaces for large trees?
I cannot answer that question
These look like
because they're in a parking lot. So it's kind of, I mean, I don't envision
Just
them
in
being
those
huge
spaces.
trees
No.
because they can't be.
But the requirement is that they be shade trees, and therefore
Correct.
they're
In a certain
large.
amount of space is
Right.
Correct.
for that, so.
Right.
So in other
And
words, they,
For instance, like, what does OU put in their parking lots?
ash trees. They have done. They're going to have to remove them and put other things there. But they put oaks and
I don't want to have to remove them.
well, no, you won't. But the point is that there's
shade trees.
There is a large list of
shade
shade
trees.
trees.
Yes, and I brought that list with
Okay.
me.
You know, the trees that are planted at Eden Stadium, you know, when you cut across that
Yeah.
lot, those are pretty good-sized trees. They cast a lot of shade
Yeah.
in that lot.
There are maples that can be planted there.
I was just going to suggest that I can look at Christie and go and figure.
I don't want to work with Ron. Yeah, that's fine.
We have the tree list.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we know
Yeah,
we can work on that.
the
I
very
think there's a number of trees that would do well
I
there.
mean, the first one that we usually recommend that we see planted in parking lots is Gladitzia, which is a honey locust.
I just want it to be
But
not a messy tree and a pretty tree.
The sweet
So-
gums are right out.
Sweet gums are out of the picture.
Sycamores are out.
right, but the thing about
honey locust
the
won't get go, they're
locust and the,
fruitless, or
what is
cones.
skyline
Honey locust. as well.
locust,
Yeah, I think so.
is that when in the fall,
was
the
the
leaflet
calculation?
falls
12.
separately from
The
the midribs and the petioles, so you aren't left with a lot of leaves that have to be cleaned up. They're just these little leaves.
12, 13, 14.
Yeah, they kind of blow away. And those seem to be surviving this summer, which is a big test.
Yeah. it's-
So, and the other thing that Lowe's have done is they have put in a, I'm going to forget what it's called. They've put in a drip system. So when they planted, they put in a drip system, and that meant that those trees have survived. And so that is a good idea. And then you don't think about, has anybody watered those trees? You know, and those need trees now to be replaced.
And they can't be too small because I don't want the students ripping them up.
Well, we recommend in sites like this, at least a 2-inch caliper
Yeah.
over the trees. If you can get them so
Get them that big.
they're branch free to 8 feet. Because if they're
That's
too
gonna
high,
be tough, but
that is expensive
that's
and
gonna be
tough.
tough.
But that's one way to avoid them being pulled
Yeah,
all over.
the lower the branches are,
Sure. The more they like to be monkeys.
And this, the landscaper probably wouldn't have too much trouble doing an irrigation system when it's. just
right.
straight line.
Well, when you're in there.
Do an irrigation system.
Well, I'll tell you.
I'm already doing the wall and the trees.
Alligator bags will work as well. You just got to remember to put
I
water
would
in.
suggest looking into it because
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a simple,
Yeah,
that's a simple
it's not a big
Okay.
deal.
Anyway,
right.
I just redid the calculation. I think it's 12 trees you actually need. I think as long as you plant large shade trees, you're going to meet
I'm just so thrilled that you
the requirements.
Yeah, right, that it is really good.
Yep.
There were a couple over here which were pretty close together. Where?
Right here? This is the
Yes.
handicap area, so we don't want to put it here.
Right.
So we thought we would put
Sure,
two
sure.
here.
And these, I don't know that we have enough space in between a shade tree. We
Yeah,
have
but
to have
there's,
30 feet.
but there's 12, there's
Yeah,
more
no,
than
no,
12.
well, I'm
There's
saying
there's 14
that,
trees shown
right.
there.
And if
No.
they want to plant them closer, that's
Sure,
fine.
then that's fine. But you could put smaller ones there, decorative,
Yeah. But, we can give you permission to put them in the sidewalk if that's
Yeah,
where
I'll
you would
work
like
with
to
Ron
put
about
them.
that.
But again, you've got to work with Ron on the locations of those.
Sure.
But that's, okay.
That'll be,
So
and that'll
we
be
can-
very attractive.
I hope so.
Well, the thing is,
It's got to look a lot better than what it did.
when you have trees in an area like that,
Yeah, it really needs to be considered with the parking plan.
right, well, it just
Yeah.
looks better and businesses succeed better where
Well,
there
and
are
as I
trees.
did a bunch of research
Uh-huh.
under parking, because we got the compact car parking requirement, or variance approved. And when I was researching for that, there's a multitude of different tree regulations in parking lots. And it's, because we're so stretched for space in this community with parking, it's very hard to implement that. But it's something that they do need to think about for the peripheral areas.
Do you want a copy of our list? or
I've got a copy.
You've got a copy, good. Okay.
I actually brought it with me,
Okay,
in case you
fine.
had specific
Yeah,
trees
but
that you thought.
the honey locust is the first one that I would go to, but
Okay.
there are others that Ron will
You know what it
suggest.
looks like?
Do you need this for your records?
No, you can, we're going to return many of these to Rick for his collection.
All right, I'll add it to my collection.
Yeah, that's
Can I
fine.
ask you really quick, what was the
Sure.
contamination problem? You said soil
There had been
contamination?
a past usage of, it was waste oil storage tanks that had been filled with water and sand.
Okay.
And
Was there a
luckily,
gas
the
station there way back
contamination
in the day or
area,
something?
there would have been, it's my understanding that there was a car lot there, and there were also
There was an oil change company there as
oil
well.
change company,
Yeah.
and so those, luckily, the contamination was pretty restricted because of the bedrock. So the soil makeup was conducive to its being limited
I just assumed it
contamination.
was an old filling station.
Yeah, so, yeah, so we're lucky, but it's cleaned up,
Right.
and that's good.
That's good.
Too bad there aren't more opportunities for people to do that in the community, but it's very wonderful.
Okay,
All right,
I
thank
think we agree that this is a perfectly good plan, and that Christy will work with Ron as to selecting species and so on, and if they can, or they need to, he'll work with them on putting the trees in the sidewalk at the side. I think that is it for Title 37 issues. In that case, Ron, we will move on to your report, please.
I have a fairly big one. Fall camping coming up, so if you have specific sites, please let me know. I'm going to do a lot of filling in of some tree removal areas that we've had this past year, and also some uptown trees need replaced.
Are you focused on another part of town other than Court Street, or?
Yeah, I'll focus in areas all over that we did removals.
Okay.
And I'm just going to give you right to my next point. Ash trees are a significant problem right now.
Yeah.
Of the 13 trees that are going to be removed with this final removal round of 2016, unless we have an emergency, 7 of them are ash. So with the last round, which we did earlier this summer, there were 6 ash removed. So they're becoming a problem.
Yeah, you can see
And
it.
our plan is to remove them as they die. That could become a budgetary issue.
Yeah.
So it's something to think about. It's something to think about from our end,
Yeah.
from administration.
Well, we
may budget a little bit more.
I
Need
hope
to
so.
budget a little bit more.
Yeah, the plan we had a number of years ago was that there were several hundred of these ash trees that needed to be removed, and the administration at the time felt that they could, if these trees needed to be removed over a 5-year period, they should be able to afford it, and that was the plan that we came up with. That's why we deliberately chose not to preemptively remove living trees at the time, knowing that this could happen, that we may
How are
need
you setting
additional.
priorities about that?
We'll basically look at danger trees.
if it's not completely dead, or if it's not in an area that's going to cause damage to property or people.
Where do parks fit in the scheme of things?
Parks are pretty high priority.
Yeah, but
Simply because of that.
But again, if in a park there's a tree that is well away from where people are walking and travelling, then there's no reason for it to be removed. But if they're in a region where there's a sidewalk and there's people moving, then they come under the same guidance as trees along the street.
If there's an ash tree going up on the left-hand side of Pomeroy Road that's leaning to the left, it's not a priority like it would if there was the same ash tree on Morris Avenue leaning over the street. You know, so it's just something that I would feel study on.
I noticed on one of our what do you call them, agendas, we had Bicentennial Park.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that.
Oh, you're going to do that, okay.
So, Bicentennial Park. So as you pointed out in an email today, David, there is definitely concern regarding Bicentennial Park, and Kevin Skurlock, who is at Arts, Parks and Recreation, and I are working together on coming up with a plan for that. That will be a significant removal project. We may be able to do a lot of that in-house. So the nature of that could change, and it's going to be really primarily driven a lot by pool placement. In terms of
Do we know when a decision is going to be made on the placement?
No.
Okay.
Soon.
I would hope so, but you know that.
There's been regular update meetings in regards to that, David. So yeah, Bicentennial Park and the community center as a whole, there are a number of smaller ash trees that are dead at the community center. We can take those down in-house. So we'll probably do a lot of replanting around the community center in the spring.
Can we also check and see what the ground's like underneath where they're being replanted? Because at the community centre we've had a number of issues with there being very little soil to plant the trees into. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, then I think we'd recommend you don't bother planting trees back in those sites. You try and relocate them somewhere else and maybe just plant shrubs in those areas.
Yeah, and that's been discussed, David, about doing some different types of landscaping in the areas where there are trees, particularly the ones closer to the community center. Mm-hmm. West State Park, I just wanted to note that we will be doing a lot of tree work in West State Park over the winter months. I know of at least 2 removals. One is a box elder tree that's seen better days. David and I know this very well.
Right by the ball field.
And there is an ash tree by the playground equipment in the loop that needs to come down. Mm-hmm. Most of the other things in that will be basic maintenance. However, the white pines on the fences of fields 1 and 2 are starting to die. Mm-hmm. So my plan for that right now is to go ahead and get some new trees started and stagger them so that they're not right against the fence, and then start the removals of the white pines as we need to. Mm-hmm. So,
and they're fairly close together, those white pines, so even removing one, the others could fill in until it's their turn to go. Yeah.
The cemeteries. West Union Street Cemetery in particular has not had a lot of tree maintenance over the years, and since we acquired it, there's been some routine pruning that we've had to do, but we're getting to the point now that we're going to have to start thinking of a strategy for West Union Street Cemetery. There are a lot of trees that are starting to go that are quite hazardous. West State Street Cemetery, on the other hand, is a different type of beast. There aren't a lot of trees left in West State Street Cemetery, and I'm thinking that maybe some of our tree banking could be utilized there.
Yeah, that'd be a good location. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the cemetery does get quite a bit of traffic, and it is a major part of the visible landscape in that side of the city. And I'm also thinking of North Lancaster. A lot of the trees that are coming down on North Lancaster are ash trees, And I consider North Lancaster to be a main artery into the city. And I'd like to get some more trees planted through the rights of way there. So again, our tree banking, particularly if we have 13 trees coming at us, that could be a good spot to plant trees.
Yeah.
We've got 100 trees coming at us from the
We do.
dealership.
So let's get those primary areas where there's a lot of traffic, both pedestrian and vehicular, as one of our gateways, and get those planted.
Are there trees going in as a part of the bicycle path extension over to Columbus Road?
I believe so, John. I have not. I haven't seen the landscape plan, but I can check on that. But I'm pretty sure that there's a landscaping component to that.
Well, if there weren't, if it was, it would be a nice place to put some trees.
Absolutely.
I don't know when the right time would be. Maybe not till the spring. I don't know what the completion date is, and I haven't been back in there, so I don't know.
But don't we want to plant as many trees as possible in the fall, because deciduous trees do best if they're planted in the fall, right?
Yeah, we try and do it in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are some species that were better off in the spring.
Conifer, maybe.
I'd leave it up to Ron and someone to.
Dogwood.
Yeah.
I'll check into that, John.
Okay.
I can send an email out to the group. I can even get the landscape plan, send it to the group. Two other things. The Southeast Ohio Tree Care Conference is on September 26th at ODNR on East State Street. If you aren't attending, it's an opportunity. It's a pretty good schedule of events this year. And the final thing I have is the county courthouse. There is a push to start a new landscape plan design around the courthouse, and they requested that we remove the tree on the north side of the county courthouse on West Washington Street as a part of their overall landscape effort. I told them that...
Landscaping.
Is that the Shumart Oak?
Excuse me, I'm sorry?
That's the Shumart Oak.
I'm not sure. But it's a healthy tree. But if they are going to redo that site, they would want to plant more trees. They're going to plant more trees there.
Could I suggest they try and continue what's been done on the east side of the building, and that is to put those seats around the trees. Those seats are being used quite a bit.
Absolutely. Those are city benches. We put those in, and they are absolutely...
If they could
utilized.
incorporate that into the design, it would be really good.
That is one of the long-term plans in terms of what Commissioner Atkins has for that courtyard, essentially, is to make it more of a public space.
If there's any way to save that tree, it would be positive, because it's got some growth on it already.
It does. It's a healthy tree.
Yeah.
It is a healthy tree.
And just plan around it, but I don't know exactly what they're planning, so.
When you talk about a landscape plan, what kind of plan? I mean,
So it's a multiple part. It would be not only nature, like green, but also the hardscape would be completely redone. Is the goal.
Would it be changed? I know there's a stairway on that north side, right? Or a double stairway even, or something?
Yes, there is.
Are they changing?
There are plans to change.
Okay.
Access. I shouldn't say plans. There's concepts in people's minds right now of what is wanted to be done.
Okay.
It's more of a visual thing right now. There's nothing on paper.
All right, so it's both structural and landscaping.
Yeah. So if need be, maybe we go the tree permit route with that particular tree, David, with the point that if it is going to be removed, they would need to replace it with.
Can we challenge them to move it?
It's a good tree.
Very expensive. Yes.
So I agree with you, John. It's a good tree.
It's a very healthy
There's
tree.
nothing wrong with the tree. It's doing damage to the sidewalk, but that should not stop us in terms of what we want to do with be creative around it.
I'm thinking, I mean, if it was possible to save it and put a seat around it, that would at least help preserve it, unless it's going to be in the way of their hardscape planning that they're doing. So, we like to keep trees that are thriving. That's the main
Absolutely.
thing.
It's a good tree.
So we would recommend it not be removed
But I felt that you should know.
as the first thing. Obviously, it's up to your boss to do whatever she has to do.
Other than that, pretty quiet in the world of trees. That's my attempt at humor. Thanks, Jennifer.
So the banking, we're starting to bank a number of trees due to some of the sites not being able to have that many trees. So it would be great if you could report on it, maybe not every meeting, but I feel like we've had 2 or 3 banking situations in the last 6
The big
months.
one is the Ford dealership, where they were planning on banking something like 100 trees. I would like to know where we are on that one.
Ron, where are we
I've
on
not
that
seen
one?
that check yet.
Okay.
There really isn't a lot of money in there right now. Maybe $1,400, but I can get it.
I mean, I think the very first one was 1 tree, I think it was, that we had uptown here.
Right. But there were a couple more. So we're starting to really
We should
fill that, or will fill the bank with these recommendations.
Yeah. Okay, anything else for Ron? If not, we've got 2 sets of minutes. If I can find them. Here they are. They are the minutes from the June 9th meeting and then the minutes of the July 14th meeting. So we'll deal with the June 9th meeting first, which I think the only matter on that agenda we actually did anything with was approve the minutes of the May 12th meeting. So,
A short one.
if I could have a
I'll
motion.
approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, John. Any objection to approving the minutes from the June 9th meeting? Hearing none, we've got minutes from that meeting. Then we had a longer meeting in July, which I think the primary thing there was the dairy barn. I have noticed that I got the date wrong for the South East Tree Care Conference. It's the 26th and not the 29th.
It is on the 29th.
Is it the 29th? Okay.
I believe it is on
I thought-
Thursday,
oh,
September 29th.
Oh, okay, I'm right then. Okay.
It's on a Thursday.
September 29th is a
Yeah.
Thursday.
Okay.
My calendar clearly says Thursday the 29th.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
My apologies for this.
That's all right.
Please do not show up at ODOT or ODNR on Monday the 26th. There'll be
Nor
something else
ODOT.
going on in there.
Tree Care Conference, September 29th. We just confirmed it. Good. So are there any corrections to the minutes of July 14th?
No corrections, but I noticed that I offered to help recruit volunteers for vine removal
Yes.
along the bike path.
In November?
That'll be in November,
Yeah.
but we don't have a date.
We don't have a date yet. I mean, again, it could be up to you to really decide what date. We need to choose a date once the frosts have taken care of a lot of the vines and so on that are there, in terms of just keep cutting them back. Obviously we have
I will pass that on as a volunteer opportunity at
Thanksgiving.
the Geography Club.
Yeah.
So, and that's
So
so.
a weekend, the week before, or maybe 2 weeks before Thanksgiving would be a good time to do it. And we can give guidance to it. John's been on one of these before. I've done it before. Have you done?
I haven't.
Okay.
I do, I guess.
It's fairly straightforward. Ron may be there as well to at least give us guidance. Main thing is, can you identify poison ivy?
Ron will be there with a lot of clothes on and lots of gloves and
Yes.
stuff over my face and
Yes.
boots up to my knees. I'll be ready.
Yeah. Okay. Can somebody propose we approve the minutes?
I'll approve the July.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, John. Any objections to approving the minutes of July 14th? Hearing none, we have minutes from the July 14th meeting. Our next meeting will be October the 13th in the council chamber. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
maybe one,